Beau, great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
What
Thank you.
makes you want to bring a story like this to the big screen?
I really have wanted to make a video game movie for a long time. Been very kind of scared and not wanting to kind of mess with it too much because it's very challenging and the fans really love their games and don't mess with it. But Rampage was kind of the perfect one for us because there was really no backstory or mythology. There's 3 giant monsters destroying buildings, so that gave us a clear runway to develop a story and characters from scratch. So that I thought was really important. We created Davis Okoye, we created George the gorilla, and that relationship I thought is something that really appealed to me. The emotion and heart of this film is so important.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like big destruction, massive disaster, the biggest disaster. I've been fortunate to make a lot of disaster movies, but this one is the biggest scale I've made. And hopefully people fall in love with these characters and have a great time.
We all know that a producer's life is a really busy one, right?
Yes.
But can you break down day to day? What does a producer do?
That's a great question. I answer it a lot in real life because people don't understand. The one thing I always say is producers are the first one on every movie and the last one off. Producers are the one who puts together the director, the script, the cast, oversees the entire film and responsible for the movie. And also producers are the one that gets the Best Picture Oscar as well. And so that's something that people that immediately like, now I understand the difference between producer and director. But really, you are like, there's no job too small. Every single detail element you're watching, and so now even with Rampage, obviously the movie's finished, but still I'm on the world tour with the film, making sure everything is taken care of, the marketing campaign, all the way to release, which is tomorrow, and we'll see, hopefully the audience shows up. But it's a really unique job, and there's something I like about it personally because it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And someone has to be there that's like the backstop, and that's my job.
There's a fine line as well, and how do you tread that fine line with letting Brad go do his thing, but also going, Brad, we sort of need to go in this direction, so what do you do?
That's a great point, and that's the classic balance between producer and director where, I've made 3 movies with Brad, and, creatively, he has a lot of ideas, which is great, that's his job, but there are times where it starts to kind of stray, and we have to bring him back, it's like, and just keep him kind of focused. And,
yeah.
And also my job is from 30,000 feet, so sometimes I have a real clear perspective when he's kind of in there and stuck sometimes in the minutia, but that's what he's supposed to do. So I have an opportunity to kind of pull him aside and pull him back and say, hey, let's remember that this is the story we're trying to tell. This is what we're trying to do. Let's not get stuck in this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that creative debate, I think, is really critical, and that's what can make the movies feel more satisfying, more fun, and ultimately more successful, I think, in my opinion.
You mentioned the Oscars. At this year's Oscars, there was a lot of mention about inclusion writers. Now,
A lot.
it's great to see talk happening.
Yes.
But we need more than talk. Is change actually starting to happen in Hollywood? Can you feel it?
I can feel it. It's really exciting and it's cool. It's something that I've been doing for a long time, just instinctively, in terms of I've been hiring female writers, directors, stars for a very long time, for the last 20 years. I grew up in a world where it's like there was never any difference between anyone, ethnicity, anything. And so, but I have noticed, in certain areas, maybe people weren't raised like I was. I was raised by a pack of women. And now it feels like Hollywood is starting to really understand that. There's parity across the board. And I couldn't be more proud to see how people are reacting and making sure that, that inclusion is happening.
Brilliant. Well, long may this continue. So great to talk to you. I could talk to you forever. Thank you.
I know. Great
Thanks so much,
questions,
Beau.
by the way.